Shrouded Fable is releasing this weekend, and it is just a little mini set that has a slight impact on the Pokemon World Championships. Hey guys, my name is Rahul. Today I'm going to be telling you guys about the Shrouded Fable Buylist, what cards I'm going to be picking up, what cards are good for the future potentially, and you guys can snag all these cards at your local card stores or on TCG Player. I have a link in the description below. If you guys click on that link, it gives me 3.5% and helps out the channel a ton. All proceeds from that go directly back into the channel and upgrading for content. So just, bookmark that and use it as you guys will. Appreciate that a ton. So let's jump into some content. Shrouded Fable is a mini set that's coming out, and Pokemon likes to do these little mini sets right before the World Championships and in general, and Shrouded Fable is one of the most impactful mini sets in my opinion, with just a handful of cards. There's not a lot of cards you guys are going to need to buy, but the cards you're going to need to buy are really good. So I'll kick us off with this Galvantula. This Galvantula isn't good just now, but in the Stellar Miracle set, there's going to be an insanely good Joltik coming out, and the Galvantula EX is also really good, so this Galvantula just gives you a great answer into Charizard, and I really like this card, so I would pick up a copy or two, and you can probably pick it up later down the line too. You don't have to pick it up right now, because it is an uncommon, so don't pay some unreasonable price on this, but it is a pretty good card. Pick up a copy or two. If you're a United Wings believer, you can pick up 4 of these. I'm just not going to play the deck, so I'm just not going to do it. Unfortunately, all the Fire-type Pokemon suck, so we're just not going to deal with that. There can be a cool Kingdra deck with King's Order down the line, I think, down at some point, because Hydro Pump does a ton of damage as well. But for the time being, I just feel like Kingdra is just one of those cards that I'm not personally going to pick up. I'm probably going to pick it up if I decide that there's like some crazy cool idea I'm cooking up, or maybe I want to take it to a League Cup or a League Challenge. But for the time being, I just feel like there's just no reason to pick it up unless you really have an idea behind it. And Weavile also is not very good. This Repharoom had a little bit of potential because of the 20 plus 120 going from bench to active, and lightning type being really good into a lot of decks right now, but shattering speed is such a terrible attack, and having to play metal energies is also really bad, so I just wouldn't personally play this card. I just don't think you need to buy it. Here is where some of the best cards in the set are. We're going to have to pick up a couple of copies of Duskull, 3 or 4, depending on how much you want to play. Most decks play 1 to 2, if that, but I just like to pick up a playset because it's got to be a really cheap one. And if you decide to somehow break the format or figure something out with this Duskull, Dusknoir, Dusclops line, I said that in the wrong order. But, you guys know what I'm talking about. This Dusclops is really good because you have Curse Blast. You may put 5 damage counters on one of your opponent's Pokemon and knock yourself out, dictating the price trade a little bit and getting a couple of extra damage counters. This Dusclops I'd pick up 4 copies of just in case as well, just because I think a 4, like, it doesn't hurt, like, if you're just going to Worlds or if you're just going to grab a couple for cups and whatever and you don't need them, maybe like a 2-2 of both right now, but I think I would just grab 4 just to have, because I just feel like it's so insane that why would you not grab 4? And then Dusknoir has Cursed Blast, which is just an accelerated version of Dusclops' ability, but this time we do 13 damage counters and still knock itself out. So I would pick up 2 to 3 copies of this at the very least, because I think Dusknoir, maybe there's 1 to 2 copies in your deck, but I would personally want 3 in mine if I'm going to play this deck. Or not in my deck, but like, I don't have a deck. I don't have a deck. Don't quote me on that. But I think like, if there's a world, there's something I'd put it in. I'm not even going to give that card any credence here. I think Blood Moon Ursaluna is something you guys could try out in like a Frostlass Monkey Dory archetype. Personally, I just don't like that archetype, so I'm just not going to play it. I just don't personally think there's anything there, so I'm not going to touch it. Here we have the dark packages of stuff. This is also another card that can go into the Frostlass Monkey archetype because you have Corrosive Winds to spread a little bit more damage and just kind of get the ball rolling. So maybe it's decent. I don't know. Whatever. The Okie Dokie and Monkey Dory kind of go hand in hand with their attacks, because Okie Dokie can basically power itself up, poison itself, and then Chain Crazed does 260. If you poison both actives, you're doing 270, 280 in between turns. And there's Binding Mochi that helps this deck out a little bit. And then you also have Monkey Dory, which has Oh No You Don't, which becomes a 1-prizer in this deck. And the whole deck is kind of facilitated by Petrarunt. And Petrarunt can also go into decks like Charizard if you think it's really good. I think Petrarunt is a pretty okay card, and I think this deck has some potential. The problem is I think Roaring Moon is just better at the time being. But I think if you are someone who's hopeful, you can pick up these copies of Petrarunt, Okie Dokie, and Monkey Dory. Maybe like a couple of copies, like 3 copies of each, maybe, if this is something you want. I would probably wait until the set kind of releases a little bit and cards get a little bit cheaper before I kind of invest in something like this. Pheasantipity, however, I think is a really good card, and I think you should grab 1 copy of that at the very least, no matter what. I think there's a ton of decks that can use this card. It's pretty versatile, pretty splashable, and I just really like how it plays. I would pick up a copy of Genesect. I don't really know what deck it's supposed to go into with the Ace Nullifier ability, but I feel like there is something there. Like, I feel like someone is going to break this, or maybe I'm going to do it before Worlds, but this is just one of those cards where I think it's really, really good and has a lot of potential just on its own, because stopping an Ace spec makes some decks a lot less powerful, like stopping Reset Stamp in certain decks, or even stopping their access to Prime Catcher can be really good in the mid to late game for some decks. I would grab a copy of Haxorus for Reggie Drago V-Star. I think that it is a potential option. I don't think you'll use Bring Down the Axe quite often, but I think Dragon Pulse could be a usable attack, and you don't mind discarding 3 cards. So it's something that you could tech into this deck. And then the card that I think is the most obvious and most powerful card from this set is Akiram. I would grab 1 to 2 copies to play in your Reggie Drago deck, because it just absolutely destroys almost every setup deck. Gardevoir, Zard, Chan Pao, just puts a target on pretty much any deck's back. And I think for that very reason, this card is just so absolutely insane. Format defining even in a mini set. All the colorless Pokemon just kind of suck, so we're just going to move past that. Binding Mochi is something you could pick up for the sake of maybe playing this Mochi deck with the poison and attacking dark type Pokemon to give yourself plus 40 damage, but I personally would not pick it up. I don't care about it. I don't think it's good. I think Cassiopeia is... I mean, I'm going to pick up all trainers. Sorry, I'm going to pick up 4 copies of all trainers, supported stadiums besides the Ace specs, but I'm going to take my time with it, because like Cassiopeia also is pretty bad here. Like, switch deck for 2 cards, put them in your hand. If it's the last card in your hand, super situational. Colossus Tenacity has potential for the future, I think. I just think for right now, with Kyurem being out, it just kills it. This card is absolutely one of the worst Ace specs I've ever read in my life. Janine works with the poison deck, so you can pick that up. I think Neutralization Zone, someone's going to break this at some point. I think the idea behind it is really cool, so I'm going to pick up a copy myself, and hopefully, someone breaks it and I can play it for cups or something. I don't know. Seems good. Nightly Stretcher is also super broken. I think this card goes into pretty much every deck, or most decks if you want to play it in place of a Rod or something. So yeah. Actually, this is the worst Ace spec I've ever read, because you can't even reuse it. Yeah. But Power Glass, I don't think this card is very good, but yeah. And then 0-6 Machinations is really broken, because I think a lot of control decks are going to be able to use this, and it just speeds up the game and lets you finish games faster. So that's pretty much the set review. But at the end of each set review, thank you guys for watching. If you want to dip, you guys can. Please like and subscribe. It helps out the channel a ton. But we're going to take a look at some of these cool arts, because I think this set has some beautiful bangers. I think the whole Dusknoir line is absolutely gorgeous. In terms of what's there, I think this Monkey Dory art is so beautiful. I really, really like this. Same with the Okidoki and the Pheasantipity. I think these are all 3 of these are gorgeous. This Zorua just goes so hard for no reason. Same with the Qfant. And the Fracture, I guess. The Persian as well. Like, these are all cards that I mean, this is terrifying. Like, this is absolutely terrifying. Full arts are just whatever, I think, for me. Like, all these full arts are just very basic and kind of do what they're supposed to do. Like, this kind of goes hard. Like, this Monkey Dory, like, flexing on you, going, oh, no, you don't. And then the alt arts, I think. These are kind of goofy looking. Like, I don't know if I like these goofy looking up in your face with the chains concept. I didn't play the DLC, so I don't know what's going on. But I do think this art's going to go super crazy when it's released. I think it's going to be really pretty and absolutely broken. And then you have your gold foils here. So thank you guys for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed this set review video, and I'll catch you guys next time.